This is Gotham TV Podcast, episode 97, where we're talking about Gotham, Heroes Rise, Season 3, episode 18, Light the Wick.
I'm David Mazuz, and you're listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Drew Powell, and you're listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Robin Lloyd Taylor, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
Welcome back to Gotham TV Podcast, Gothamites. We're talking about Season 3, episode 18, Light the Wick. I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
Hi, and welcome back, Gothamites. Yes, I'm one of your other hosts, John, and yes, back in Gotham, where the executioner is about to go after Jim. He has been judged to be a disloyal member of the Court of Owls, as well as a threat to Gotham. Yes, his membership has been revoked after one episode. So he probably shouldn't go joining any golf clubs at the moment. And of course, probably Leslie could be the executioner-esque, given that they are both now gunning for Jim Gordon. Yeah, welcome back to this really kind of interesting episode.
Yeah, lots to talk about. Before we do, though, obviously just make sure that you subscribe to our podcast. If you want to subscribe through Apple Podcasts, just search for us over at gothamtvpodcast.com/iTunes, which will take you on to the Apple Podcast. If you want to search for us on any other good podcast catcher, just search for Gotham TV Podcast over there. We had a little bit of news last week, and this, just to repeat it in case you missed it last week, we're coming up to our 100th episode in just 3 weeks time. So we'd love to hear some messages from you. If you want to email us over at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com with an MP3 voicemail maybe. If you want to send an email message to us, you can do it over there as well. Or you can record up to 90 seconds over on our website at gothamtvpodcast.com. Just press the send voicemail button and record a quick hello to us for our 100th episode. We'd love to hear from you.
And of course, you come and join the Gotham community over at Gotham TV Podcast's Facebook group. Just go to facebook.com/groups/Gotham TV Podcast. And of course, just another little reminder, with Season 4, we will be at the North American pace of release every Thursday from late September.
Yes. The episodes air from every Thursday from the 21st of September, so our podcast should be out within the next couple of days after that. So really excited to get back to the American pace for the next season. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think with that, on with Light the Wick, our review, and of course, spoiler filled from here on out. Derek, what are some of the production notes for this?
Yeah, this episode was directed by another new director to Gotham, Mark Tonderai. He directed House at the End of the Street with Jennifer Lawrence, when the remake, I think, of a horror movie came out a couple of years ago. So yeah, movie director coming over to Gotham. It's quite cool.
Yeah, interesting.
And the episode was written by Che Chun. Che has done one other episode of Gotham before, which was Blood Rush. That was around the time of the creation of the Executioner. So quite cool that he gets to play with Captain Barnes again in his episode. It's
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
Yeah. John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for the episode?
Sure. Ivy Pepper visits Selena Kyle in the hospital and uses her plants to perfectly heal her injuries. As Selena recovers, she becomes intensely focused on heading to Wayne Manor to kill the brutal ganger 514A. Leslie Tompkins rules Frank Gordon's death a homicide and attempts to have Jim Gordon questioned. But when she suspects Harvey Bullock and Lucius Fox are helping Gordon evade justice, she resigns from the GCPD to leave its and Gotham's craziness behind. Meanwhile, the Court of Owls kidnaps Nathaniel Barnes and forces Hugo Strange to harness the Alice Tetch virus from his blood. With Strange's assistance, Gordon learns the court intends to weaponize and release the virus onto Gotham, and discreetly works with Oswald Cobblepot to prevent a group of socialites from being exposed as a test. Bruce Wayne manages to overcome his rage during his training in the mountains, and the shaman deems him ready to return to Gotham and embrace his new power. Meanwhile, Cobblepot, who helped Jim against the court, is captured by Talon and imprisoned in the court's headquarters in the cell next to Edward Nygma. Awkward. After deeming Gordon a traitor, Catherine orders Nathaniel Barnes to execute him.
Oh yes, that's really cool. Actually, the moment with Ed and Oswald right beside each other in two prison cells, just bearing down on each other. Really cool. Really
A
cool
great scene. I think we'll obviously come onto that a bit later, but that was an absolutely great scene. I really thought Robin Lord Taylor's just portrayal of pure hatred in that and anger towards Ed was just captivating, actually. I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to our case notes. I think our first case note really has to be Selina loves catnip, right?
She really does, yeah. Ivy brings back Selina as she fills the hospital room with a ton of plants, including Nepeta catera, which is effectively catnip.
Basically, yeah.
So,
I love that idea. This is great.
Little Selina's going a little crazy there, rolling around and attacking these plants in her dreams, in her catnip-fueled dreams. Whatever that catnip is doing, it is fixing her brain and her muscles and everything that she broke or tore or ripped apart from that fall from the window. Yeah. But I do like her kind of focus when she wakes up. You know, Ivy's, what are you doing? You've just come out of a coma, and it's like Oswald Cobblepot, actually, in waking up, I've got to go and kill someone. I've got to go to Wayne Manor and kill someone. So some nice parallels there between these two on their return to the living after being saved by Ivy Pepper.
Is this something in the treatment that Ivy gives to the people, the patients that she's bringing in?
It would appear so.
You know, you stick a bandage on them and they wake up and go, I have to kill somebody.
It would appear so.
It does look like it, doesn't it? But I love this touch again with the Nepeta cataria, the catnip for Selena to bring her back. I just love the idea that they're playing obviously with the fact that she's going to become Catwoman. It's a really nice touch from the production designers to bring this in. But I really like Ivy Pepper in these moments. Maggie Geeha's playing a great part. I love that she's controlling all the minds of the nurses all around. A great moment with the first nurse where she says to her, is she going to be okay? And the nurse goes, no. And she goes, tell me she's going to be okay. And the nurse goes, she's going to be okay. Like, no, you're doing that because of my power, you know. Nice little moments. Good humor there with the scenes.
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice seeing Ivy Pepper now sort of embedded with Oswald Cobblepot's army of freaks, really getting some good little story arcs here. And really, you know, pardon the pun, but coming of age, as she has done by aging, in this season. Yeah. I really think it's, good. And I just wonder now whether Selena will kind of join that army, at some point, which will be really interesting.
Yeah. She's got a mission to carry out first, though. Take out 514A. The Bruselganger is now in her sights.
Yes. I can imagine that Alfred will drop his shepherd's pie when a knife is thrown through the air straight for the doppelganger's heart.
Well, we will talk about it a little bit later, but obviously Bruce is on his way back to Wayne Manor now that he's finished his training. So will it be the Bruselganger or will it be Bruce on the other end of it? I'm suspecting that Bruce Wayne will be the one attacked by Selena.
I suspect there will be a face-off and conundrum moment where she's faced with two Bruces.
Possibly.
And who does she kill?
Oh, yes, a classic. Let's go on to case note 2. The Executioner escapes, I think, is our second note. Captain Barnes is freed from prison by the Talons and by the Court of Owls because of the Alice Tetch virus being inside his blood. They want to get access to it so they can take down the city of Gotham, which is really cool.
Yeah, and little crazy Mad Hatter is there rhyming his way through the escape.
That was really cool, isn't it?
It was really cool. I'm really glad to see him back. I hope he escapes from Arkham pronto, because I really want to see Jervis Tetch back in Gotham, causing all manner of problems and chaos, along with Jerome, along with Oswald, and everyone else. Yeah. To be honest, I'm starting to think maybe the Court of Owls has got the right idea, but you do wonder what is going to happen. But yeah, I love this little touch of the Mad Hatter rhyming. Yeah. The kind of narrative and exposition of what was happening as Barnes gets released from Arkham through the Talon, not obviously willingly.
Not willingly, no. But obviously, again, it's a good touch because Jervis Tetch, this is his sister's virus that's that's inside the blood of Barnes. This is the reason why he's there. So a nice touch that he's the one that's narrating it. So it's very unusual for them to bring back a character of that size just in a very small role, but they've been able to bring Jervis Tetch back quite a few times now.
Yeah.
To just kind of guide what's going on with the virus. And that's quite cool. So great to see him back as well. One of your favorite characters this season as well.
Yes, definitely. And of course, back to Catherine, who is going to use the virus to punish Gotham, to take the revenge on all the chaos going on. But I do wonder if adding the virus will work.
I know.
Are you not just simply going to create more chaos? Because it's created the Executioner. It created Mario. So yeah, it'll be interesting, unless it's a question of devouring Gotham from the inside out. But yeah, this is a risky move by the court, but nonetheless one that is going to be within the hands of, and I suppose this moves on to our third case note.
Well, yeah.
Is the return of Professor Strange.
Oh, yes.
He is going to drain, not to the point of death, but he will be there draining, testing, experimenting to really find out how to weaponize the virus, Tetch's sister's blood, to be released then into Gotham to cause more chaos, which is what they're not trying to. Well, interesting.
I suppose they're really trying to prove a point to Gotham. They're effectively saying to them, we're going to show you your real selves by using this virus on them. So it does, again, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. It is very similar to the plan that Ra's al Ghul had with the League of Shadows in the first Batman Begins movie. This idea that he used the fear virus through Scarecrow to turn everybody against each other. That was his plan to take down the city of Gotham and to burn it to the ground.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, very similar kind of plan, which is quite cool that they've taken the cue from that.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, Professor Strange is successful. I really love this test subject, as he gets the aerosol version of the virus, and he goes really, really creepy. I love the froth that came spitting out of his mouth as he turns in on himself with the effects of the virus, and he really looked like one of those crazy zombies, actually, from like 28 Days Later. Really kind of intense and scary. Like it was really good to see that. And of course, unfortunately, he seems to get out of his glass tube and is killing all of the lab techs that are left behind. And of course, it seems as though Catherine leaves Strange to a potentially gory and bloody fate as well. But again,
thanks for weaponizing the virus. See you later.
Yeah, absolutely. But in true Professor Strange fashion, he is playing both sides, which is really cool. I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
really cool. One big question, obviously, is where's Fish? It seems that Professor Strange has been kidnapped against his will by the Court of Owls. He says that I'm here. I'm being held without wanting to be here. Do you have to be standing over my shoulder the whole time? He says that to Catherine. And she says, well, you were minding Fish Mooney effectively. So, and now you don't have to do that. So quite interesting. Fish Mooney's still out there, still being mentioned, but just not back for this episode. So we'll hopefully get to see her very soon in Gotham.
Yes. Speaking of the Court of Owls and its membership. Yes, Jim's membership is revoked.
Yes, as you mentioned.
He didn't do really that well in infiltrating to destroy, because he has a big test here, which is to test the use of the virus on some sort of jumped up socialites who probably could have done with a little bit of tetching, to be honest.
Maybe.
But yeah, Jim doesn't see it that way, as always, and is out there to. I love the fact that he just goes, screw it, and goes after Tal. I love that kind of resignation. I thought that was really, really cool. I love the fact that he suddenly brings in Oswald, and obviously little does he know that Oswald's attempt to get to the court in order to find Enigma would work in such a way as to be banged up in a cell right next to Ed. But I do like the fact that Firefly comes in and crisps up Talon. I must say, I thought the image of the top half of his body burning on the floor of the old Gotham bank was really nicely done.
Fab, wasn't it?
Really good. And yeah, this whole thing between Jim and the court, I thought was just really good. And I loved how it ended up with Oswald sort of coming back in, playing Jim. We got the old friend moniker as well.
Absolutely.
But
this
actually,
is just a favour, Jim, because we're old friends.
yeah,
it's quite
like
cool.
it was really nice little touch back to season 1. But certainly I just loved the fact that actually Oswald gets what he wants, which is to find Enigma. And I have to say, this is, in terms of acting with no speaking, I thought the look on Oswald's face was just perfect. Really priceless. And to see that really well done by Robin Lord Taylor, and even just the grasping through the bars, but there was just this loathing in his eyes, this just constant stir that he did to Enigma. I thought that was an absolute great little scene and some fine acting there from Robin Lord Taylor.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
Yeah, that was definitely very, very cool. One thing I didn't like about this moment with Jim really is with him going and investigating Catherine. We now know that she's Catherine Monroe, one of the oldest families in Gotham. So the Monroes have been around for a long time. So we finally have her surname for her. But when he finds the key card in Wayne Enterprises and runs out of Catherine's building where he's found the key card, he's just shouting in the street on the mobile phone to Harvey going, I know exactly what the court are about to do to take down the city of Gotham, with Catherine standing directly above him.
Yes.
So, I was quite surprised that by the end of the episode, Catherine's saying to Barnes that a person I thought was loyal to me is not loyal at all, because from that moment onwards, you have to know he's not loyal to you if he's running out in the street calling somebody on the phone and exposing your plan.
Yeah, I think it was a bit strange, certainly given that they framed it in a way that she was looking out across the street.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jim has to be quick doing these things, so, whereas patience, Jim, patience.
Your uncle spent 14 years or 15 years in here. Yeah.
But I do think as well, the whole kind of storyline here of Leslie and Jim and his uncle Frank, I thought was really good. I think for me, Leslie is my voice at the moment against Jim to an extent. All the things I've kind of gone, I absolutely agree with what Jim stands for, but he seems to undermine his own principles. And I think that's what Leslie is kind of saying, but it looks like she's going, well, she has handed in her resignation to leave the GCPD, and it looks as though she's going to be leaving Gotham as well. I thought it was interesting as well that she's calling out Harvey and calling out Lucius here as well. The interesting thing I thought, though, was, where did Lucius Fox come from? The last I was aware, he was being effectively kidnapped by Enigma.
Yeah.
Now, Ed has subsequently been then taken by the Court of Owls, but there was no kind of sense of where Lucius Fox had been. If he had been rescued, if he had managed to escape, he was just back in the GCPD, and not even that I've just been taken by Enigma. So, either it's just a pure kind of plot hole that's gone through on Gotham, or there's something going to get revealed in future episodes. Maybe he's been planted. Maybe he's been hypnotized, given some kind of drug or something because that's how the Riddler plays. The Riddler plays the long game, or he sets up an elaborate kind of sequence or scenario where then it plays out to his advantage in a very public way. And I'm wondering, is there something that he's done, and is this the case with Lucius Fox? Because otherwise it is just a plot hole. And it is quite a big one, given that whole episode of Ed Nygma becoming the Riddler is focusing quite intensely on Lucius being his nemesis by being his equal and getting kidnapped at the end of it. But then we've not seen anything else that happened. So yeah, it was an interesting little situation to arise, and certainly that he's been given access to the vial of Alice Tetcher's weaponized virus that Strange had kind of given in return for his freedom and the information to Harvey and Jim, so that they knew where they needed to go in terms of to find Catherine's property and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it kind of an interesting few things here of what's happened to Lucius Fox potentially. Or is it just a plot hole?
Or is it just a plot hole, yeah. Or else it's just as simple as Ed found what he needed to find, which was getting the court, and he just let Lucius go. You know, it could have been as simple as that he just got out of the car and we were reading too much into it. I think it was probably because that particular scene had been shown at the start of 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
I am the Riddler and then knocking out Lucius, but we didn't see him exit the car, so maybe that was the error that they made. We just assumed it meant he knocked him over the head and he was keeping him for later kind of thing. He was going to be kidnapping him effectively. But yeah, we'll probably see something about that hopefully in future. Hopefully they'll tie it up. On to the final case note for the episode. Case note 5.
Yes.
Bruce escapes his rage.
He certainly does. He basically wins the fight with the other fighters that the shaman is sending at him, because he is able to release the rage that he has had since his parents' murder. I think this is really interesting because, you know, there is an element here. Who is the shaman? You know, is he maybe a Ra's al Ghul member of the League of Assassins or something like that? Or is he involved with the Court of Owls? Because the way he's speaking to Bruce has been very much of almost like a supportive mentor to get him into a zone where he can fulfill a potential and almost a fate that only he can see that he will do, and not even Bruce. But he has that little phone call with Catherine where
she's calling him sir the whole time, remember?
Yes.
So, yeah, I do think there's some very big involvement with the Court of Owls, yeah.
Definitely. Like, is he the leader of the court? Or does she think he's the leader, but he is actually for the League of Assassins and a Ra's al Ghul puppet? But it is that ultimately, there is something shady here for Bruce Wayne. And it's not, I kind of, you know, with the previous episodes with the shaman, I actually thought, there was a possible positive thing going on here for him, that it really will maybe show the next step for him to become, the Batman.
Absolutely.
But then he's brought himself back to Catherine and these manipulative ways. So it'd be really interesting to see, you know, it isn't for the good of Bruce, it's for the good of the court, or maybe a larger organization or an even more sort of subversive organization like the League of Assassins. So this will be interesting to see what happens now.
Yeah. And I like how they dealt with it in the episode. This is effectively them saying that Bruce has to get rid of the pain that he feels and the rage he feels from his parents' murder, which is a very delicate tightrope you have to walk with Bruce Wayne, because yes, he does have to release the pain and anger and rage that's caused him, that has been caused to him, but he does have to keep that memory. This is what drives him to be Batman. This is what drives him to become the protector of Gotham, because he doesn't want to see innocents like his parents murdered on the streets of Gotham. So it is a delicate balance to make sure that you keep that central part of his development into Batman, but also make sure that you're giving him the strength to get away from being the child that was there watching his parents be murdered. So I think it was handled really well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there will be that moment of realization that, you know, he is being used, and that, you know, the importance of his parents' memory and what they stood for will be solidified and cemented in Bruce's mind as something to hold on to in terms of their memory, not how they died.
Exactly. Quite cool. Great, some great moments in this episode. Definitely.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. Bullockism of the week, I think, time.
Yes.
If you haven't sent in your Bullockism of any episode of the series, all you need to do is just email us at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com with your favourite Harvey Bullock moment of the season. Another one for us for this week, where Bullock is talking to Strange and says, "Hugo Strange, you're under arrest for attempting to weaponize a viral..." You know what? I love the frustration when he doesn't know how to explain what it is that he's trying to arrest Hugo for. Great little moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lovely little moment there from Harvey Bullock. Yeah. And we see the court has a list of family and friends to be saved from the coming rapture from the Tetch virus. And as well, that door in the old bank really doesn't seem as though it would hold the weaponized aerosol of the virus at all.
No, not really. It seems to have a lot of holes in it.
And a little bangy when he closed it.
It's almost like one of those ones you get in a Chinese restaurant. Like,
it's sliding that kind
door.
Of
thin sliding doors, But just on the list of people that the court are going to save from the rapture, what I thought was interesting about this is what shows you that they're an evil organization. Yeah. If you've got an organization that's saying we're going to kill everybody unless the people we choose, except for the people we choose, well, that means that they're effectively want to kill people who aren't like themselves. Yeah. So it's always a bad sign when an organization says, we will slaughter everybody in the city. Everybody will die. There will be no escape.
Definitely.
Except for these people.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, Jim did write something down. So I wonder who it was. Was it Harvey Bullock?
It was Harv.
Lucius Fox and Leslie Tompkins, I wonder?
Possibly. Yeah, I'd say Leslie it's the most likely, but it would be cool if it was just Harvey Bullock. Jim and Harvey in the pub after the rapture has taken place, surviving it. It's quite cool. Just one other note for the episode. We had the music in the Sirens Bar this time was a cover of Get It On by T-Rex, covered by the Power Station. So always like hearing cool cover versions of rock music from the 70s and 80s in Gotham. They do a really good job of picking out the music. So just wanted to call that one out. John, overall, what do you think of the episode?
Yeah, I would give this 3.5 killer Oswald stirs out of 5.
Wow.
I thought this was a really solid episode again, and I think it was a transitional one, definitely moving to reintroduce the executioner, to bring to a close Leslie's frustration at the GCPD, all of which was really satisfying. I think the standout moment for me was absolutely Oswald being put into the cell next door to the Riddler, and just how that was played by Robin Lord Taylor was absolutely fantastic. It really gave me chills. And of course, we have Ivy helping her old friend Selena with a nice little bit of catnip. And of course, Selena waking up and being quite clear that she has her memories intact and she's off to kill someone at Wayne Manor. Unless it's Alfred, of course, then in which case she really is holding grudges. Obviously, Alfred not really being her biggest fan back in the day, but I suspect it is the Bruce Ganger.
I think so, yeah.
A really good, solid episode, and I can't wait to see the showdown between Captain Barnes as the executioner and Jim Gordon.
Yeah, there was a big fight in Jim's hands last time he had to take down Barnes, so be interesting to see that. For me, my standout moment of the episode actually is one that we didn't even talk about, sadly. Lee versus Jim in the coroner's office. I thought was a fantastic scene between the two actors. I think both of them did an absolutely brilliant job here, where effectively Jim is saying to Leslie that she has to let this go, regardless of whether she blames him or for Mario's death, or if she's going to hold a grudge. She needs to let go of her anger about the situation. Very good parallels between this and what's happening in Bruce Wayne's life. What he's saying is if she leaves now and walks out, she's going to hold on and this is going to become a bigger and bigger thing for her. That's not going to help the fact that she's walking away from the situation. So getting out of Gotham's probably a good idea. Hopefully she's going to a nice resort to get some massages and calming her down. But maybe not just walking away in anger that even people like Lucius and Harvey, who were former friends of hers, have now turned against her because they've taken Jim's side. That's probably not the best way to go.
Just to comment on that, I do think it's probably not healthy for her to be working in a place where she sees the person who killed her husband and who she has these fairly angry thoughts towards, and then to be in a place where there's building and increasing frustration that actually this guy that has really gone down in her estimation and that she's angry at is also being supported or covered for by two people that used to be her friends. So I think absolutely the right idea that she gets the hell out of there.
Yeah.
But in the same way, she does, as Jim says, she has to deal with it. But I think part of it, of getting herself out of that situation, is going to help her enormously. Or it'll eat her up and she'll come back as a murderous villain.
As the executioneress. Yes, very cool. I think that's everything for this episode of Gotham TV Podcast. I think we have a little bit of feedback to go to. So our feedback comes in from Claire Payne for this week through our email address at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com. Claire says, has Selina used one of her 9 lives? I really liked how Ivy orchestrated the medical staff in the hospital, making Selina's room a botanical haven. Poor Ivy doesn't get shown any kindness from the people she saves. It's going to be very interesting when Selina arrives at Wayne Manor. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we thought that there's some connection with how Ivy's taking care of people and their reactions to her.
Yeah, and will she be confronted with an eeny, meeny, miny, mo situation as Bruce is returning from his mountain retreat? And of course, the doppelganger will be there. So we just wonder if, there could be a interesting choice for Selina.
Mm-hmm. Claire continues with a very welcome return to Professor Strange, a really good opening to the episode, which also saw the return of Barnes. Catherine getting Strange to siphon the Alice Tetch virus out of Barnes was very freaky. Always freaky with Professor Strange. Love having him on the show, but he is a very creepy kind of guy.
Yeah, I absolutely loved Professor Strange from season 2, and obviously now in season 3, it's good to have him back. And I hope he's back even more. Certainly when we get to reconnect with Fish, it would be good if he was by her side as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Claire says, Jim's story thread throughout this episode was very good, starting with an official meeting with the Court of Owls, deciding to find out what he can about Catherine, then gets a surprise visit from an old friend, Oswald. Personally, I don't think there are enough Jim and Oswald scenes in Gotham. Oswald wants an answer where Enigma is, and then handing Jim a cell phone, which unknown at the time comes in really handy just as Catherine unveils her plan, as 200 people in Gotham are going to be exposed to the weaponized virus. Firefly turning up when Penguin takes out the Court's assassin, which guarantees Penguin will be meeting the Court sooner than he thinks. Penguin held up in a cell that next door neighbour just happens to be Ed, and a brilliantly intense scene between the two characters. I just love the silence between them, and Ed's reaction to seeing Oswald is alive. Yeah, I know we talked about Oswald's reaction to seeing Ed beside him, but yeah, the reaction of Ed as well to Oswald.
Yeah, it was initial disbelief, but I definitely think the intensity of that scene is absolutely from the Penguin, with his mission, his vengeance, and just that pure hatred and loathing really captured so well by Robin Lord Taylor. Definitely a great tense scene, absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree. I'd love to see more of Jim and Oswald scenes right back to the first episode. That was something that really drew us into the show, right back to episode 1, you know. Really cool to see a bit more of them together. Finally, Claire says, with a familiar gripping end to another episode of Gotham, Barnes has been unleashed by Catherine to take down deceiving Jim. Really looking forward to episode 19. Thanks, Claire.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claire. It will be a gripping episode 19, definitely. I'm going to absolutely love seeing Barnes confronted with Jim. You know, they had such a history together and almost a similarity of what they wanted to do. And of course, that has gradually diverged now, and I do think this will be a really interesting episode with those two.
Definitely. Thanks so much, Claire.
Yes, thank you as always for the feedback. You can contact us through our website voicemail over at gothamtvpodcast.com. If you want to leave any thoughts or comments about any of the episodes of Gotham, you can leave up to 90 seconds of voicemail that we will play on the podcast and bring into the feedback, or you can email us directly at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com. Or if you want to leave any comments or thoughts on the Facebook group, just leave any of your discussion points or thoughts in the Facebook group. Just head over to facebook.com/groups/Gotham TV Podcast, and we will get you included there on the group.
Absolutely. And a reminder again, we will be covering Gotham season 4 at the pace of the US. So if you want to join the group now, that's absolutely brilliant. Just bear in mind, we're going to be covering it at a little bit faster pace and much closer to the US when it comes up from the 21st of September. So going to be hopefully a bit more good chat as the episodes come out. Going to look forward to that. Next episode of Gotham is episode 19. All Will Be Judged, obviously an executioner-centric episode coming up next week. That'll be out next Wednesday. Our review, anyway, will be out next Wednesday, the 18th of August. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We will talk to you again next time.
Absolutely. As always, it's a great pleasure speaking with you. And of course, we will be back with you next time. Bye.
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 Thanks for being a Butch supporter. Butch loves you, baby.